In the heart of the rugged mountains, where the wind howled against the cliffs in silence, was broken only by the cry of hawks overhead, lived a man who had long ago turned his back on civilization. He was known as a mountain man, solitary with only the fire, the trees, and the wilderness to keep him company. His life was harsh, but it was one he chose, cut off from betrayal, from loss, from people who had wounded him too deeply. To him, the mountain was both prison and salvation. He needed nothing else. At least that was what he thought. Until one cold morning when he spotted something that shook him to his core. High on the roof of the old cabin he had inherited from a trapper friend, a figure dangled against the light of dawn. For a heartbeat he thought it was a trick of the shadows. But as he moved closer, his chest tightened. There was a woman, blonde hair tangled in the wind, hanging precariously, as if the wilderness itself had claimed her. He rushed forward, climbed onto the side rail, and with trembling hands pulled her down to safety. Her body was cold, her lips pale, and across her arm, burned into her flesh, were the words Apache lover. He froze. The brand was cruel, deliberate, a mark of hatred and punishment. Whoever she was, someone had wanted her to suffer. He carried her inside, laying her by the fire, wrapping her in blankets until the trembling in her limbs subsided. When her eyes finally fluttered open, blue and haunted, she gasped and tried to pull away. Fear was carved into her every movement. He whispered gently, telling her she was safe, that no one would hurt her here. But she did not seem to believe it. Through halting words, broken by tears, she told him her story. Her name was Clara, and she had once lived in a settlement on the edge of the frontier. But she had fallen in love with someone forbidden, a man of the Apache people. The townsfolk had not forgiven her for her choice. To them it was treason, betrayal of her blood. They had called her names, shunned her, and when she refused to repent, they had branded her in the most brutal way imaginable. Then, as though that cruelty wasn't enough, they had left her for dead, tied and beaten, cast out into the wilderness. Somehow, she had stumbled through the mountains until collapsing on the roof of his cabin. The mountain man listened in silence. He had always believed pain belonged only to men like him, scarred by the betrayals of the world. But hearing her words, he felt something stir in him, a mixture of anger and protectiveness. He had seen cruelty before, but the depth of her suffering left him shaken. She was a woman cast out for love, punished for following her heart. Days passed and she slowly regained her strength. At first she kept to herself, eyes lowered, as if she expected him to turn her away as everyone else had. But he did not. He gave her food, warmth, and a quiet space to heal. He spoke little, but his silence was not unkind. Slowly she began,